again, right here, DC201. Here's your host, the Wolfman Jack, coming at you, Jersey City, New Jersey. We're back for another special episode of Archvile. Psyched! All right, New Year's, new beers. In my case, let's pour the drink, gin and tonic. Where are my shades? I forgot my shades. New beer, new shades. And it looks like the charity's done, so boop. What's it called? Before we get started, let me put myself a drink here. Let's see what here. Let's take a little bit of gin and tonic. This is the last bit of 2020 here. Last reminder of 2020. 2020 is finally over, but I start the new year off with a bang. Quite literally, bang being what's it called? Far-right extremists plotted a coup d'état against the U.S. government, and most of them were just left to walk out of there unharmed. Lovely. Anyways, cheers. So let's see if we can. Let's see if I can center this a little more. Drag this here and here. All right, perfect. Now, what's it called? First stream 2020. Let's go back to basics. Satan, my ninjas. Yes, hack the planet. What's it called? 2 metal for 1 hand. What's it called? All that stuff. Heavy rock and roll. Hack the planet. But we're gonna kick this back to basics because this show is about partially about Arch Linux and gaming on Arch. We're about how do you actually install Arch in the first place. So, like anything else, let's open up a VirtualBox. Let's see, do I have anything sensitive here? Can minimize everything here. So like I said, okay, Oracle VirtualBox. If you have any virtualization software, any of these should work. So we're going to go over installing Arch Linux. I'm going to install it in VM. The one thing I do recommend on Arch Linux, very much do recommend about Arch Linux, is don't install this on Metal unless you're absolutely sure. The first time you install on Metal, put it on a laptop. If you're just going to barge right in and you have no experience with Arch and you're just going to put it on your main desktop, you're going to have a really bad time. What's it called? Arch Linux is not it's not exactly the hardest thing in the world, but it takes a bit of reading. I mean, it's one of those. The wiki's great. Read the wiki. Yeah, what's it called? The biggest skill you need to run Arch Linux is a little bit of patience and willingness to learn. If you have that, you can run Arch. And what I mean, you don't just have to have that, you have to use that. A little bit of patience, willingness to learn, a willingness to do a lot of reading for a little bit of typing. That's it. That's all you really need to do to be able to run Arch. So a lot of people, even if you can run it, some people just don't want to, and that's absolutely fine. But in any case, to see how you are, the first, like any OS, always start a virtual machine first. I mean, there's always going to be some what's it called, wannabe badass. This is like, yeah, I don't need the rules. I'm going to go the advanced stuff first, and when it hurts and you're frustrated and you're broken stuff, I told you so. But okay, let's start here. Archlinux.org. The very first step is go to archlinux.org. Normally here, let's check the latest news, anything that really pops out, any advisory. This is a good one. It says libtrace event. Missing symlink. So if you had this program installed, you'd have to do a manual intervention. It tells you the steps how to do this right here. Talks about incompatibilities here. So you see a few of them here. Scroll back a few manual interventions. If you had the software installed, you might have to do a manual intervention. So, but we don't. So here from archlinux.org, we're just going to hit download. And right here, we're just going to open the torrent. New Year's, new beers. January 1st is a new Arch Linux image. And reminded, they release these once a month. It's a snapshot because Arch is rolling release, which means they just dump software into production. So So here we have what's it called? A qubit torrent. It's just a regular torrent client. Any torrent client will work, right? Any torrent client, any OS. Hit what's it called? Hit the OS. You'll see I have a few things running in torrent. You see I have an older version of Arch Linux. We're just going to go ahead and delete this. We don't need this. They release new one every month. And we're just going to wait for that to download. What's it called? While this is downloading, let me real quick saying if there's a reason why you're not hearing music on the stream, what's it called? As co-founder SciPocket has informed me, well, most of the music for the DEFCON soundtrack is distributed free of charge. Some of the bits and some of the clips are not registering as entirely free. Not registering as entirely free. Because there's still some copyright there somewhere, and what happens is in the recordings it just blanks out all the audio for the time it's playing, which means to little weird effects. It's just not cool. So until we can get up and running with a source like Pretzel or some other things, which is just all random generic free tracks, I'm just going nothing but the beautiful sound of Wolfman's voice. Game Master, you're back. Okay, let me issue this warning right now. The next time I hear some weeb shit coming out of your mouth, you're banned for good. Capiche? All right, I'll take the silence as an agreement. Now, what's it called? Now that we have here, this is download. This is in downloads. So here now we want a new what's it called? New VirtualBox. So we're gonna put in. Arch file Arch demo box. Okay. It's got a name. You can see the version. Once you start typing in Arch or whatever in VirtualBox, it'll autofill this, the version to Arch Linux. There's a few here. This doesn't matter as much as you think it does, but just closest approximation about what the OS is. Let's put RAM here. In case you haven't noticed, I have a silly amount of RAM for what's it called? If you're running headless, if you're just screwing around, 1 gigabyte is almost okay. If you're running a desktop, you should probably be at least 4. If you're doing like a server, depending on what you're running, if you're doing a headless server, 1 gigabyte should be fine. If you're running a desktop, maybe 4. If you're doing big compute jobs, maybe a lot. But I almost have the feeling this is more less to do with the operating system, more to do with whatever application you're running. It's kind of, you'll know or kind of guess. But here, let's just put this at, might as well put this at 8 because I have a stupid amount of RAM. I also, it also doesn't use RAM unless it's actually using RAM, so there's no real penalty for just setting this to like whatever. How much disk do you need for what's it called? If you're doing this in production, 50 is probably the max. Demo box, I'm probably just gonna put this at. I'll probably just gonna put this at 20. It doesn't matter because this is also thin provision. Thin provision means PC is a definitive platform. I don't know. Survey says that kind of sounds like trolling Game Master. You know, when we say things like Arch Linux Master Race, it was supposed to be a joke, but some people didn't get the fact it was a joke, so you have to stop saying it. Also, the joke being that PC gamers act like Nazis sometimes. And then the real Nazis showed up, and then you can't make the joke anymore. So anyway, let's get back to let's get back to the hard disk creation. So let's just put it 25. It doesn't really matter too much. It's thin provision, which means it doesn't actually take up space unless space is being taken up. So here we have this. Let's open the settings. Let's configure a few more things. USB 3, why not? All the ports in this machine are USB 3 because it's badass. Machine folders. This is a point I use all my virtual machines. If I can access from the desktop. It's not entirely too necessary. network, NAT for this instance is fine. The one thing I like to do is IDE. Who uses IDE anymore? So let's put a right here. Let's put in. Leave that empty for now. Why not? Let's remove that. We just have a SATA controller. Host IO catch AHCI. Video memory. We're running this as a desktop. So let's give it video memory. 3D acceleration. If you want to run a GUI, 3D acceleration is going to be system processors 1 CPU. Let's give it 4. Shared clipboard, bidirectional, drag and drop bidirectional. Let's make it a little easier. So this, so once you do insert those two, you can seamlessly move between desktop and whatever. Please select the optical disk or physical disk for the drive. So like I said, we just downloaded Arch 210101. Happy New Bears. Bam! And this is not starting for some whatever reason. For whatever reason, that dialogue's broken. So almost forgot. Let's put this up here. For some reason, floppy's still enabled. Who uses floppies? I mean, I thought we didn't have that problem with floppies. Say it, my ninjas. My day's going fine. Getting off of work, doing the show, rocking out. Well, was rocking out, but you can't hear it because copyright reasons. So go follow your local senator and tell him, screw you or screw your intellectual bullshit. I want to hear G.I. Jack's music. I want to hear him rock out on the show. I want to hear him rock out doing Arch Linux. So go give him a call. Not like it's gonna happen, but it makes the show a lot more interesting. You might hear some 9 Inch Nails, some Front 242, some Slayer, some motherfucking Slayer, Repentless. So what do we have here? So now it looks like we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. This one doesn't work by selecting a device. Optical discs. Now it's important. Let's just click this right here so we can see optical discs, the install disk. Now, when we reboot this, now. Oh, that's actually interesting. You can install Arch Linux with speech. Perhaps we'll do a crossover. We'll get the good Neo NYC here who does accessibility, and we'll go over kind of using Arch Linux for blind people. But anyway, we're not going to do this. There's no UEFI in the virtual machine I didn't install because that's another mess of stuff that I have UEFI running on my desktop. I'm not going to put it. It's a little more complicated, so I'm not going to put it in here. So now that we have this running in a virtual machine, let's go back to the website, right? Because as you'll see right here, unlike most other distros, years ago when I first started using Arch Linux, they used to have, I shit you not, ladies and gentlemen, a curses installer, menu installer, this disk, this disk, this disk. These days, they just leave you off at the root prompt like this on a disk, and you have to do almost everything manually. There's a handful of bootstrap scripts that will install this, but here, you have to literally read the document. So instead of just leaving you out in the cold, there's right here, the wiki front page, front right center here is the installation guide. So again, this is why I said start in a virtual machine, because you have to have a web browser up for this. I mean, sure, you can use your phone, and you know what, honestly, I have used my phone before this. I've been like, oh my god, it's here. What do I do now? I forget. Phone. A certain point you will get to, if you do this enough, you will kind of memorize all this. But again, one of those, you're using this a couple months, you read the document, you did this a lot of times before you get to the state where you can this. But here's what the real installer is it's the installation guide. Right here. Ooh. Ugh. Download and visit the PGP signature. All right, let's humor it. Download. Also, if you see these texts pop up above the prompt, all this is Fortune AS. Once again, throw this in your Bash profile, and you will get a nice Unix Fortune mod every time every time a terminal runs. Have a little more connected to the culture of the like old school Unix culture, what everyone was thinking, and generally soak up the color of kind of Unix culture. So that's kind of important. Arch Linux version.sig. Let's run this let's hope this fucking works and it doesn't. Good signature from Pierre Schmitz, but it's an untrusted key. Oh boy. So let me tell you right here, this is just not secure, the way to do this. HTTP, where they can be downloaded to intercept it to serve miraculous images. Here, we'll notice that this is HTTPS. We'll check the connection secure. Oh, they use Let's Encrypt. Jesus Christ, where's End Commander? They use Let's Encrypt. So I used a magnet, right? So the magnet, will do automatic verification with SHA-256. As long as you can get that your magnet or your torrent is good, what's it called? You can almost guarantee that the file hasn't been interrupted. So this really isn't much better than if you do this right here. Let me correct a big mistake right here. If you do this isn't much better than just checking a fingerprint. They're just using MD5 and SHA-1. Why? But okay, so if you have a fingerprint here, we can check the fingerprint. Let's make sure the fingerprint lines up. Let's go backwards. EAAC 9741. And they use Jesus, I'm going to have to talk to these people. Because they use a key ID, right? They use an supposed to use the full signature, not the. Okay, so here's the full signature. So you can see for AAA. Quickly looking through it, it's the same key, but you're supposed to put this entire number here. And you see the way they do it right here? The way you do it is you space it in groups of 4 to make it easier to read. Hey, Dulce Delmona, how's it going? Oh, and Saint My Ninjas, it's okay. You went through the Arch install process multiple times. It's okay. Again, this is why you do it in a virtual machine, because if you screw something up in a virtual machine, you fuck it up. All you can do if you fuck it up is just delete the virtual machine and make another one. Absolutely, just no problem. You might feel like an idiot, but it's comfort of your home. Nobody saw it. No harm, no foul. We're not gonna make fun of you. And trust me, the rest of us have done it too. I mean, you see somebody good at something, it's because they put their 10,000 hours in, and you can get that good too if you practice. So no harm, no foul. You miss something. You miss something. It happens. The best thing other to do is a lot of times this stuff will break. It'll get hard. The best thing you can do is just don't be too hard on yourself, right? You learn. You learn from your mistakes. You pick yourself up and you try it again. Here's the thing is though, like anything hard, it doesn't matter if it's like Arch Linux. It doesn't matter if it's like you're doing like jujitsu or you're doing like you're racing motorcycles, or if you're doing like especially army shit. Everything in the army is like this. If everybody got it right in the first try, you expect to get it right in the first try, and nobody bang your knees against nothing, then it's not hard. It's easy. It's too easy. I mean, it's not a challenge. If you never fail at anything, you're not challenging yourself ever. So I don't know. Maybe like I'm different. Like I kind of grew up in a neighborhood. We played tackle football on the pavement. We rode like little BMX bicycles. We jumped them off whatever. The first couple of times, you expect you're just getting banged up, which is part of life. And same thing when you do like this. It's not like it's physical or like, oh, I'm a badass. It's just you just have to understand that kind of failure, and especially kind of like learning from like early failures, is kind of part of, part of success. It's part of like being able to learn from like failures is part of the success. So I mean that's part of life. Good life skill actually. So Dulce de Mona, we're doing great. What you call 2020 is finally over. Mixed feelings because 2021 is probably gonna be even more crazy, but hopefully 2021, we'll enjoy ourselves crazy. But get crazy. I got my gin and tonic. What you call it? New Year's was great. Brewed some absinthe. Being a little self-critical that my last batch of 2020 wasn't as good as my last batch from 2016, which I probably should have filtered it more, but it was drinkable. So we did a New Year's party, which was great. So there's this one. So here we're talking about booting the live environment. We've already done this, but I'll leave this here, right? Where you can watch this. Target machine via USB flash drive. To make one of these, maybe we should go over this one. You can do something with DD, the disk destroyer. But in this case, we don't have to. You can just download ISO, and ISO is good as CD-ROM. You can burn the CD-ROM if anybody still has an optical disk. This machine build I have right here doesn't have an optical disk. It's the first build I built that doesn't have an optical disk. Literally, I think the first parts machine I put together, going to say 1997, is the last machine I had that didn't have an optical drive. So, I'll give how this looks like if you have GNOME disk utility running, right? You get to see some of my awesome rig. You get to see I have 2 NVMe drives. There's Western Digital enterprise grade drives. Oh, I just love showing this off. It's so badass. This flash drive here, what you call? This is absolute. You can just see everything's just like RAID arrays upon RAID arrays. Because that's just how I roll, you know. So here we go. You can do this with DD in the command line with DDIFOF, but this is just GNOME disk utility. So you see, this is the file we had before, right? If you were going to install this, you just hit the restore button. All right. Well, I'm not gonna type my password in. You can't see how long my password is, but that's just how you do it. You'd hit the button and it would go. You give your progress bar and it'd be done. You could just open the command line and you can type in something like sudo dd cd downloads sudo dd if Arch Linux. If you tab completion always works wonders. OF dev sd x bs always change. You don't have to strictly do this. But BS like BS 128K because it defaults to 512 bytes, and it just slows down because it used to be like in an old IBM system from like the mid 80s. That's where DD comes from. And you put like this, and you type in sync, and then you hit enter, and you wait for this to be done, and bam. And this would hang for a long time. Like, we'll give you a progress bar to hang. But when you what's it called? You'd have a disk. To install. But so we really have this here. We just booted right off the ISO into a VirtualBox. So set the keyboard layout. USR share. KBD key maps. So what maps do we have here? Okay, Game Master, at this point, I think you're just shit posting. So, goodbye. Game Master. Well, I guess we banned a troll. Surprised we don't get more trolls. But we got a troll. So you'd have to just kind of less here. And I guess find the various types of keyboards. We really don't have to do this too much. Standard keyboard is, just English keyboard. Verify the boot mode. We're not using UEFI. Verify that we have internet link. We do. We do. So we do. Or actually, it should be ping. Ping's Arch Linux. You can just see that everything resolves here. The full stack, DNS resolves, IP connectivity resolves. This is all done automatically. Plug in the Ethernet, plug in the cable, authenticate using. This is a pain in the ass if you actually try to do this on wireless. It's not recommended. It's recommended to do a hard line, at least for the install, unless you absolutely have to use this utility. Don't. Update the clock. Check date and time, local system. Now we partition the disks. This one recommends doing fdisk L. So we can just see it's just FDA. VBox hard disk is dev SDA. So this just works here. If you need a menu, just a menu, dev SDA, DOS, new. Because it's a virtual machine, you don't really have to screw with this all on a virtual machine. You just one partition, set it bootable. Where's boot? So setting it bootable here doesn't even really matter too much. Oh, here it is, bootable. So flash bootable right here. Setting it bootable here doesn't matter too much because that can be done later time with other utilities. So another thing to know is the swap partition. I really don't, recommend setting up like an actual swap partition. You can put swap as a regular file. Most of the time in modern machines, you most of the time don't need it. I don't have swap on here. Putting swap as like an actual file makes it a lot more flexible. You can grow and shrink it. It's not always like wasting space. It's not a partition. You can make new swap files. You can make as many swap files as you want. It can be very dynamic. You really shouldn't really swap, despite what anybody really tells you about swap. Especially when you can do this sysctl vm dot swappiness. The default value here is 60. I set this to 1, so this machine won't swap unless it actually runs out of physical memory, which is recommended because swap, you're just basically just thrashing your disk, and it's useful in the limited scenario where you literally run out of RAM, and all of a sudden you need to just like make a swap file and then just enable more RAM so whatever you're doing doesn't crash. Other than that, it's not really worthwhile. So UEFI, we're not going to get into that today. Maybe another time we'll talk about UEFI install. So, or doing MNT boot, a boot partition or a UEFI partition. So now, Obviously, we format the file system, ext4. Format it, what's it called? Now, of course, we mount it. Mount. And now this is Packstrap right here. This is one of the. If you're familiar with this is kind of we do this when I'm talking about my disk image tools. For not installing in a virtual machine, just installing like directly on an image with QEMU for cloud usage. But this is the magic. This is just literally a bash script that bootstraps the system. So we don't actually need Linux firmware. So it's just your base directory, Linux, it needs a kernel. Instead of using Linux, I like Linux LTS. Because if you're running in a virtual machine, if you have no reason not to, might as well use the LTS kernel. Using the LTS kernel, I'll tell you, you have a lot less headaches. A lot less stuff will be randomly dropped on you. A lot less random, what's it called? A lot less random failures if you use, essentially, let me move this out of here. I better think. A lot less random failures if you just run LTS. LTS is just long-term support. If you just go here on kernel.org, whatever this top long-term kernel is, that's what LTS is going to be, which is kind of cool. Files upstream. It's just the first LTS kernel, which is kind of good. And close this here. Close this. Close this. One more thing not included is a text editor. So I always install VI. Please nobody get too uppity about text editor and because it should always kind of be there because it's POSIX standard and Nano. Oh, I see what I did. So this is just using Pacman, targeting a directory. And now, this is where Arch Linux actually installs. This is a base install using built-in tooling. Here we go, it just goes. Very, very, very minimal install. So I'm walking through very minimal install. I've used GNU Nano because it is GNU. It's kind of very popular, everyone uses. And VI because it's kind of POSIX, very much, very much a POSIX standard. The one thing when I say about text editors, use whatever text editor you want. You don't have to like VI, especially if you want to do this professionally. You don't have to like VI, but you need to learn it. Specifically, I don't know if there's a mem of so many people, one of the many poor souls trapped in VI somewhere. Don't be one of those guys. Don't be a fucking accident. Don't get trapped in VI. Learn VI. So if we're learning VI, sidetrack when we talk about VI, you don't need to be an expert at it. There's only a few commands that you really need to know about VI. It's because VI is on every Unix system that you will ever find in production, literally going back to the early 80s. Literally going back to late 70s, early 80s, will be on every one. All you have to know to quit VI. Quit without save. Save and quit. What's it called? Escape. Return to command mode. All the commands are in command mode. If you're in text mode, they kind of escape. Return to command mode. I'll put this at the top. That's what what's it called? Okay, I insert X, delete A. That's it. That's all you need to know. That's all the VI that you need to know to be a Linux admin. There's a lot more of VI, but nobody cares because it's VI. But that's all you need to know. That's all you really need to know. Right there. That's all you need to do to edit a config file and save the day. That's all you need to know. Okay, so getting back here. You can substitute Linux for a kernel package of your choice, which we did, or omit it entirely if installing in a container. You can omit the firmware when installing in a virtual machine or a container. So it's like I said, we didn't install firmware. So it says here, you need a text editor, software necessary for networking, man pages, man DB, man pages, text info. So what's you use? Gen FS tab, U, MNT for UUID. And then finally, we can use the Archvile to chroot into our new install. And now we start the configuration. Set the time zone. So we can ls user share zone info. So all right, let's set up our locales file. This is actually important because if you don't, if you don't, a lot of programs will break. This default locale. What is a default locale? Okay, UTF. This is actually ENUS UTF-8. So if you don't actually set this, so notice there's two locales here, right? There's two locales for ENUS. There's ISO 8895 and UTF-8. Use UTF-8. Don't build the other one because some programs will have funny characters and if they automatically have this one installed. Whatever reason, I have no idea. Nothing really uses ISO 8859. Unless you have a good reason why you should use it, just avoid it. So if you spoke another language or use another language, you can build something else. This is NUS. So that's it. But yeah, despite the fact that everything defaults to English, if you didn't specify this, it defaulted to C locale, and that would actually break things, believe it or not. So locale gen, generating locales. This file doesn't exist until you make it, which is kind of weird. Eight, not 9, 8. So there we go. All right, this is not. Set the keyboard layout. Again, if you're using a US keyboard, it doesn't really matter too much. Well, actually, wait, can't paste that here, so ls user share. Guess we'll leave that be. In vConsole, you used to also be able to set fonts. So if you wanted to use something like that stupid Terminus font, you could set Terminus. So, okay, where were we? All right. Host name. This is actually really important because some programs, believe it or not, even in the GUI, just won't run if you have a proper host name. So, nano host name. What should we call this box? In chat, if you've any idea of what we're supposed to call this machine, what you want this machine, voice off in chat. You got about 5, 4, 3, 2. Before I pick something really boring, so we're just gonna put this Archvile. You know what? Because we're gonna do World of Warcraft next. Let's actually do something from MF Doom. Rest in peace. All right. Oh, come on, Ron. All right. MF Doom. Well, actually, we'll put this lowercase. I'm sure he'll understand. Also need to set this for whatever reason. There's no default anymore. There used to be. I have no idea why I stopped setting this. But it's in the instructions where you have to kind of set this. The next, you have to generate the initial RAM disk. So in our case, we can do etc mk init. You can go through this one here. Modules, this is kernel modules to install. AHCI. This is MK and its CPO, actual binary images. This will actually parse the depths, dependencies, like link dependencies for C programs, and include all the everything linked to all the libraries linked to it. Files, it's just random files. And hooks are a combination of script, file, binary, whatever, modules, like all in one, and like a module. So there's a few different ones. There's a few ones you can add here. This one's perfectly fine for what we're doing. You can edit this if you want. You can compress the kernel, smaller kernel size. You want to run a little faster, so let's go 2. Let's set the compression to 1 or 2. Now, as far as kernel packages to use, if you're running Linux if you're running on bare metal, I go with Linux hardened. If you're not, if you're running a virtual machine, don't, because the hardened package has been known to conflict with VirtualBox from time to time. It's the best just to go to this. So now you have to choose a bootloader. We're going with SysLinux. Because this is the easiest one to set up. You can put a grub here, but good old-fashioned SysLinux. Set a root password. We're just going to set this to Tor because it's easy. What other stuff do we? Bootloader. Let's actually click through bootloader before I just go through something automatically. For the what's it called? For this one, let's see. Bootloader feature compilation. There's a few different ways you can boot Arch. EFI stub, you can turn EFI executable to be loaded directly from UEFI firmware. Another bootloader. Grub, everyone's famous grub. Everyone knows how to use this one. And then, what's it called? So you see there's some choice of bootloader here. Of course, this system deboot. So sys Linux install update. You can see right here. There's this useful handy dandy sys Linux dash install underscore update, and then we type in IAM. It's Arch Linux specific script. It'll automatically figure out everything. All you have to do is IAM, and bam. It's set to boot. So, not entirely though, so cd boot. You have to edit the configuration files for default. Just remember, default to SDA3, because they assume you're going to have 2 partitions and a swap partition. A swap partition, one other, something else besides home, maybe something on boot. But now it's SDA1. Now, so before we entirely reboot, let's make sure the network works. Since systemd network D is already installed, this is, believe it or not, this is probably the easiest one to get installed. Wired adapter using DHCP. Because look at it this way, it's just one line of code. So we could just copy and paste this. This is S3. That's the adapter here is S3. So this is, we just note that this is all we have to do is go, how do we name this one here? So nano 10.10 wired network. Match. Network. DHCP. Oh, and that's a 0, not a 1. So that's all it is. 4 lines of configuration. That's all you need to really get network D running. Everyone hates it, whatever reason. But it's simple, easy to read. Here's the interface name. The network, just use DHCP. Yes. So everything's set up. unmount everything. An unmount minus R, right? Minus R means recursive, in case you had extra partitions here. And now we can just reboot. And here we are. This is the Arch Linux system we just installed. This is the SysLinux bootloader on BIOS. Oh my. Oh, I see what we did here. Silly me. This is, what's it called? We forgot to add, change everything to actually use the LTS kernel, which is fixable. But otherwise, yeah, this is booting. This is MF Doom, the system we just configured. We can do devices. We can eject the optical device. Almost forgot here when we talk about this. Those are files that have to exist. So if you're not running a standard kernel, you have to kind of edit these to point to whatever kernel you are using. And that's now you have a running Arch Linux system. It's up. Now you can go play and do whatever you want. So let's actually get to a GUI. One of my favorites here. I'll often demonstrate XFCE. All right, another thing that makes this easier to read is pacman.conf. Let's actually turn color on, right? This is always good because now when you search, there's color. It kind of breaks everything up. It's a little easier to read, especially if a color terminal. So I guess here let's just do LXDM is probably going to be the easiest. LXDM, XFCE4. So we'll just do LXDM. We can probably see here that, again, oh, that is interesting. Wait for this to come down for a bit. Almost forgot. System forgot to enable the networking driver. can see now we pull an IP address. And it still doesn't resolve. Huh. Oh, it's a set resolver. Oh boy. Guess we're gonna have to set the resolve. So they can do name server. And there we go. Everything seems to be working. All right. So display manager. Now this is working. We're gonna have to try. Gonna go through configuration, installation. It just says there's a group called XFCE4. 4 XFCE4. So, now that's all this is installed. All you really have to do here is systemctl enable LXDM. You see that one? User add, M for making a home directory, and Jack. See, now it's all going. We have an unprivileged user. User mod AG. Let's add myself to the wheel group. User mod A. Edit sudos here. Again, defaults to VI. So it's like, why important VI? For whatever reason, you do this. Default editor, this is now VI. They don't tell you it's VI, but So now we have an unprivileged user, which can get root with sudo and a password, and all set to go. And now we can just reboot. And this, if everything's done right, should come right back up in GUI mode. And it should come right back up in GUI mode. And it should... Alright, and it did not come back up in GUI mode. We probably need the VirtualBox drivers, because this is in a VirtualBox, Pacman S, box, guest, DK. So let's get these installed. Let's also get the Linux, the headers installed, Pacman S, Linux, LTF. So, looks like that still didn't run. Why not? So let's disable this and reboot. And looks like X just does not want to. Oh, plain and simple. S Xorg drivers. And there we go. And now we have need to get the what's it called, various drivers to work. Now this runs. Now you have XFCE running in a virtual box. And there we go. That is a working Arch Linux system that boots to a GUI. You log in. Let's see if this actually resizes. Here's the background, bunch of street racers outside. Jersey City is Jersey City. Of course, we can set this up. Background color, transparent backgrounds is half the fun of the terminal is. And there you go. That is XFCE. Any questions from the peanut gallery? Might as well install Pulse. And there we go. So there we go. That's XSCE. Close the keyboard. And now, the second half of the show, because we're doing some gaming, and now that I've actually shown you how to install Arch, we're getting back, so I haven't done this in a while. Getting back, let's play some World of Warcraft. Just so everyone knows, I am recruiting Guild Jersey Turnpike, the official, unofficial DC 201 World of Warcraft Guild, because I'm the only one person in this household who plays the game. Oh wow, looks like another Game Master is back with 211 whatever. This time, dude, behave yourself. We don't need any, like, more bullshit. So here. World of Warcraft. So latest expansion, this is Into the Shadowlands. I played a little through this. That the Shadowlands in World of Warcraft are kind of like their afterlife. So just like another thing. It's like, oh, no, we're going to drop this onto you. There's a lot of dead and undead things in this game. There's things that just don't die. A little bug where the loading screen glitches out. But if you just hit enter and your character is selected, you can get in anyway. This might be hard if you're trying to create a client, but create a character, but dance with death. You have to dance with death. Still not max level yet, this one. Alright, so still can't hear audio. For some reason I can't hear the audio. 1 second. 1 second. Audio troubles. Monitor. Can you hear myself now? I can hear myself speaking. Alright, so I should be monitoring the output, but for some reason it's not monitoring. Audio, audio, audio. Alright, whatever, it's not too important. I think you should be able to hear this one. Steward Companion, purposely selected. So what is this quest? This is supposed to be, I think, their version of heaven here. This very serene looking thing, and they have like these owl looking creatures.
Welcome, friend. Yes.
Are kind of like the guardians for like souls in the afterlife. So let's go back and try to explore if this is kind of the Shadowlands. Orbitos is kind of like the main city where you kind of wind up after. You kind of wind up in like the maw. There's like the game starts in like the maw here. This is like the entry to here, and you like this part, and then you kind of get kidnapped, or you're here trying to find like captured heroes.
Welcome, Maw Walker.
Like Jada Proudmoore and like I think Andrew and Wynn are like here.
How do you do? A steward's job is never done.
Okay, so there's a flight master.
You are seen.
Let's go back to
May wisdom.
or boss. So you get to kind of see like how this works. A little overview. This is their version of heaven, and everything kind of is powered off of anima, which is I think it's like blood kind of thingy that they just like magic blood thingy that kind of through everything that heaven and hell kind of fight over in this game. This is Bastion. Notice kind of like within the architecture is like the similarity between like the kind of like the high heavens that you can probably see in the background. That kind of looks like the high heavens from like Diablo 3 and like this very fantastical kind of background. I mean, they really put the fantasy back in fantasy game with this one. So the whole point here is there's like a civil war in kind of Bastion about two factions, I think, of like souls. One that kind of want to remain like what they say pure. They kind of like very much beat like the kind of mortal mentality out of them, and they don't remember anything where they came from or who they are. Okay, here's the cool part. So this is just a gateway here where you're just going to fly through this gateway, and it's going to load us to another zone. And then you turn into the worm. It's like this animal worm. It's kind of twisting through these nethers. It's like very unique to World of Warcraft. That usually doesn't do these dark scenes too much where you really... So here, you could just see here, this is just kind of Eternity, like the Great Beyond Eternity. The realm you go where you die. This is kind of, this is it in World of Warcraft. As opposed to like, they did a very good job, I think, with making this very like anime-ish or comic bookish cartoon colors. So where are we gonna go here? This is like the main city in the new expansion. These little teleporter things. Step on here. Now you're in the main city.
You need something precise.
Duty to fulfill.
So let's actually get back on my horse, because there has to be like a mailbox around here somewhere. So I got mail. Yay!
The purpose do not disrupt the eternal city. What do you seek? This crisis.
The Ring of Fates. Alright, so yeah, selling off all my old stuff from for the previous expansion. Is this what happens? You have these large bags, but you wind up collecting like a whole bunch of, lack of a better term, crap.
Everything is negotiable. Tell me what you need, my friend.
And looks like there's kind of like their versions of the ether wheels here. It feels maybe just might be actually the ether wheels. Just without the wraps and stuff. Cartel tie.
Your patronage is always appreciated.
You may speak, mortal.
So yeah, from like the previous games, there was. So let's go back down here, back to the ring of transference, because we're catching the next flight out of here.
How may I serve?
Back the way we came. So we take the worm, it leads us through the portal the other way. You know, it's just these strange otherworldly dimensional portals. This is definitely something very much out of a dream state. I think this is definitely what they're going for. Definitely is like the light at the end of the tunnel. The in-between. That's just squishy. Yeah. I don't think you'll like it, Gamer Master. It's not from Japan. There's no Japanese animation here, man.
I welcome you.
Get the horse. Okay, so I need to go back here. I think I need to select one of those owl thingies. The owl people.
I await your instructions.
Need sustenance? Bandages? Wet cloth?
Some repairs. We got more stuff to vendor trash. Sell that much.
I'll have more next time. Hello. Back to work. Is there work to be done? A steward's job is never done. How do you do, who? My pleasure.
Alright, so which owl does it matter? So far I can't figure out a reason why I should give it who.
State your purpose.
So, summon steward.
Archon's eyes upon you.
Another big one of those special quests.
I would have you speak. I will be watching you, mortal.
But here they are. Strangely enough,
I have
like
other
all the
duties
souls,
to
very
attend
Roman
to.
haircuts, very, like,
Your
wearing
steward
togas.
can
This is
repair
like,
the beacon at your request.
not here, but you can see some like Roman columns. You're like, oh, very pseudo-Roman kind of. The steward summoned. Okay, Mr. Owl. All right, Stewart, we're going to have to summon.
What knowledge do you bear? I bear more than just knowledge.
The very whatever this is. Here we go. What? Zoom in here. There's a beacon of restoration. Huh. Beacon of invocation fixed. Alright, keep moving your mouse to be able to select something and fix this. This is... Okay, that's pretty Roman.
Archon guide you.
Okay. Maybe I have to talk to talk to Mr.
Yes.
Owl. You play me a song?
Toodle-hoo.
Toodaloo.
Yoo-hoo.
Fix the beacon. All done. Working good.
I'm
Activate
out
the
of
beacon.
range.
For what purpose do you light the beacon, aspirants?
Polymarch, we have urgent news for the Archon.
You are the ones from the Temple of Purity. Very well, then. You wish to be of service? Remain humble.
Finally, an audience with
So
the
here we
Archon.
actually talk with,
We shall meet you there, my
like,
friend.
The head person in charge here, because like no new souls are flying into heaven because
The Paragons have already
badass,
assembled and await the Archon's arrival. It would be
Red Elves
wise
turned
for you
undead,
to
kinda
listen
did
until
something,
asked to
which is
speak.
kind of makes a little sense if you saw like the intro videos, which I kind of played through this game a little bit. before,
Such an
a couple
illustrious
times.
audience is a rare honor, mortal. Do not squander it.
So yes, architecture here kind of looks like High Heavens. It looks a little bit like High Heavens from Diablo 3. So, just to be expected. Same company.
Shall we converse?
Light master here. So let's go up here. Where this is.
Her memories are unequivocal, Devos.
Your hand has sworn herself to the Maw.
Lysonia. I never knew
Stay true to our eternal charge. Find
Alright,
This is dire news for Symphony. But the Archon has turned a deaf ear to such tidings in the past.
The circumstances have changed. Tell me of these Forsworn.
Most have merely lost faith, and may yet be redeemed. But some have fallen so far as to wield the power of the Maw itself.
It is true. This mortal has fought against Ascended who are in service of the Jailer. Lysonia is not the only one.
We do not know when or where the Forsworn will strike next. But strike they will.
What you speak of is unthinkable, but we must remain vigilant nonetheless. Paragons, return to your temples. Adrestes, monitor the wards. It appears you have a part to play in all of this, mortal. Let us see what comes of it. Go in service.
So yeah, that's there's that video.
I am the Archon's will. Go in service.
Greetings.
The future of Bastion is
clear.
in our hands.
Our watch continues.
Yeah, they also added these little, like, kind of objective bars. So I guess really everything.
Good. The Temple of Loyalty's ward is active. The Kyrian, meditating on their duty to Bastion and the Archon, are safe.
Peculiar. The Ward of Purity is disabled. This is surely what allowed the Forsworn to invade in such force.
Humility's ward stands strong. However,
The past memories
perhaps
of
it would
all
do the
Kyrian
Forsworn
are stored
service
at
to
the Temple
relearn
of
the lessons
Wisdom.
taught there.
I am quite relieved to see its ward holding. The Ward of Courage holds. That is quite the relief.
Fools! The Forsworn will triumph over the Archon!
I just checked it. Okay, there we go.
Quickly!
Not
We
registered.
must alert the pole mark!
We must alert the pole mark. I don't know. This one's kind of... I hate to say this is kind of sleepy. I mean, this kind of looks like something...
Do you need a task? Cassius will provide you with a Larian. Go, quickly.
Yes,
Cassius,
Palamark.
okay, these are very...
Archon watch over us all.
You have
Oh,
faced
this
much.
guy's very Roman. You see his head down.
Go in service.
What is on your mind?
The Forsworn who destroyed the ward. He was the one from Lysonia's memories.
It seemed that their pact with the Maw was kept secret from him. I wonder, are the other Forsworn also unaware of it?
Alright, more cutscene. Cutscenes.
The ward has been sabotaged, as we agreed.
Good. Our allies are eager to strike.
The Kyrian temples will fall, and the Archon's reign shall be ended.
I am glad to see I am not yet alone. The Maldraxi attacked without warning. By Xandria's spear. My life for the Paragon.
You betray your ancient oath to Maldraxxus, Lich! Justice will be done!
My masterpiece at best be destroyed, and the Tyrian corpses harvested for our armies. You and your king shall be the first, but not the last.
Sacrilege! Mortal, push forward and secure the temple!
So yeah, comment system done around.
You speak to the hand.
Friends, I bring aid!
But like I'm geared so high from previous expansion said that.
I don't have a target.
Let's break some bones!
You won't survive this!
You shall go no further.
I need to get closer.
Perhaps your corpse will prove you shall go no further.
Meet your demise!
How may I be of service?
Cycle takes me.
Lay down for weapons.
This one's gonna get you some fame. What marvels exist on your world?
The sooner you find those
You
parts,
have my attention.
the sooner this Colossus can help clear their flyers.
Keep your wits about you. Our enemy has no honor. You speak to the hand.
Save every Kyrian that you can!
I think I can make it.
You're my way up the ladder!
What ladder? You're gonna climb the ladder.
Shoot off a portion of their anima. It will heal your wounds if you approach it.
You cheated! my legend begins!
So we got some armor plating.
Anima powers all things in Bastion, even the mighty Colossi. This will help it retain its charge. You have my attention.
It's too far away.
Over here!
Archon's light
Quickly!
shine upon you.
Alright, so those people are free. Another one freed. Okay, so can't sap him on the back of the head.
You speak to the hand.
In case anybody's wondering, I have like all the top level gear. I'm not most of the top level gear from the previous.
It's too far away.
So even with this squash, every nothing about it. They do
Yes, mortal.
I'm out of range.
Oh yeah, besides I haven't done PvP in a while. Maybe if I practice some PvP next time, I'll do some PvP. Because like being a rogue is evil. Because if like you're playing like a rogue or a warlock or one of like the kind of like bad character classes, and you don't make people just fucking hate you, you're not playing the class right. Because it's just like you fucker. You kind of sneak around the shadows. You smack people in the back of their head. You steal their wallet. You're a rogue. Oh, of course, it's a little arrow.
You have my attention.
So, note to self, those skulk boar thingy-majiggies can see you when you're sneaking.
Save the others.
There's a chest.
Attack!
Back in for everyone Oh, almost forgot. People have been assassinated.
This is one of Mechanicos' finest creations. It channels anima directly into blasts of energy.
Speak, mortal.
Now Thor is truly powerful if his magic penetrated this plating. He will not go down easily.
I was just getting started.
Out of range.
You speak to the hand. You have my attention.
Just means somebody wants to epic die.
Always ready.
New ideas for Centurion upgrades?
You speak to the hand. We shall all meet at the shattered span below once our work is done.
Loud and clear. I will just move the Colossus somehow.
I was just getting
to victory.
Is unacceptable.
so close.
Survive this! Do not forget to use... I have sheared off a portion of their anima. It will heal your wounds if you approach it.
was just getting started.
Meet your demise.
You have my attention. You speak to the hand.
You're my way up the ladder.
Out of money here.
I don't have a target.
Time to earn my glory. Like this.
Too far away.
Yeah, I should have been centering all the rest of it. I don't know, I should really talk more about this, but this is kind of like... I mean, I don't know, it's not really too much to this expansion. Maybe the end game content is a little better. I'm on the Stone Rage realm.
Don't chop me.
The one thing I will note is, among other things, let's see, I still have this petition somewhere. Petition. I still have this guild charter for Jersey Turnpike. Need more people to sign it. Need more people to join my guild. If you guys want to join my guild, you should join my guild because it's the official, unofficial DEFCON 2 and World of Warcraft Guild, because nobody else really gives a shit about Blizzard games except for me around here. But it'll be fun because you can come play World of Warcraft and put whatever other crazy lovable site enjoy tuning into the show. We can talk about Linux and drinking and punk rock. Partition, and we're gonna play World of Warcraft. We could. Great. So I've empowered the crystal. There's a few corpses here. Two more. Two more corpses.
This one's gonna net me some fame!
Our forces have gathered at the Shattered Span. I shall meet you there.
So here we are. This is kind of your pseudo-Greco-Roman pseudo-Greco-Roman kind of...
Your forces are already pushed back. You have lost. You have my attention.
Now the plot twist. It's like, now comes the Wicked Witch of the West. She's gonna dialogue something which is just fucking...
I am a busy steward. The Colossus needs to finish charging. Buy me time.
You speak to the hand. You have my attention.
All right.
You speak to the hand. Call down your beasts! They will perish just like the rest!
Fool! My army is all around you.
Get closer.
Is that all you have? Yes! I expected more!
We are unending. Piece by piece, you will fall.
Time to earn my glory!
Out of range.
It is nearly at full power. Just a bit longer. That is enough. Bonefang's spawn could use a treat. Fulfill your destiny.
The Colossus is ready! Come, come!
You have my attention.
Fire when ready! Now that is how you take care of business!
He has gone towards the Paragon!
Overwhelming. I mean, the combat's not totally easy. I mean,
you speak to the hand.
Jesus. Like, no reactions. Like, absolutely no reactions to this because there's not really reactions. And now we try to sit here, blah, 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 killing air because this is mediocre. It looks mediocre. It is mediocre.
By Xandria's spear. You have my attention. My life for the Paragon.
And what do we know?
The Paragon of Courage was at the heart of the temple when the attack came. If she yet draws breath, we must lend her our aid.
You cannot win this battle, Necromancer! Our courage never falters!
It will take more than courage to save you now.
My Paragon! You do not stand alone!
Ah, just the vessel I require.
For the Archon! For Bastion! What are you doing to me? No! No! No!
Thanatos!
I have perfected you! Now serve me by destroying our enemies. Yes, Master.
Somehow I like this when it was Gul'dan better. You know, it was Burning Legion.
Monster! What has driven you to this madness?
You, Kyrian, are complicit in a broken cycle. Bastion is a waste of anima. We shall seize it all.
Not while I stand against you!
Then you will be the next to fall.
Paragon! I failed you.
This is kind of more a really stupid, cheesy version of Outlaw.
You will suffer for this, Necromancer!
Come then, if you dare.
I don't know. I thought this game jumped the shark.
Rain death upon them. Ensure they do not interfere.
But, you know, the difference.
Outsider, we need to get out of here.
Rain death upon them. Ensure they do
The Paragon
not
can stand on her own until
interfere.
you gather reinforcements.
Artemidi will report to the Archon. We must return to Oribos and inform them of Maldrex's treachery.
Your shadow is unacceptable.
Did my sister send you?
Okay, one more.
Do you have need of my blade?
The power of necromancy.
Did my brother say
We must travel to Oribos at once.
May your courage never falter.
My people will surely prepare our armies for retaliation once Artemide delivers word. I will meet you there. Stay safe.
Oh, maybe I should do a dungeon.
Resistance
Maybe that'll
is
cheer me up. Let's see what's this
ill-advised.
dungeon. Quests, log.
You won't survive this.
All right, dungeon time. First dungeon of this. Let's see what this dungeon looks like.
For eternal.
Dungeons are always good. Dungeons will get you your like first tier of decent gear for the X pack. I'm starting at 54. I'm still wearing all the same gear from last one. The things are starting to hurt. So I need more gear anyway. And we have some lighting glitches. Alright, so anyone have anything in chat? Here's a dungeon. Shadowlands dungeon. We're gonna go.
Yet another of the Kyrians. I am indebted to you.
Yeah, the other problem with like when you do like kind of like non-heroic dungeons is like people don't know about play the hardest. As opposed to the dungeons that can be harder, but everyone kind of knows their character better. It's gonna be weird.
I need to get closer. Too far away.
Stitch flesh will be irked to know.
Nothing. Wow. That is surprisingly Spartan. Yeah, so this is me trying to kill warrior here. It's like, oh wow. Just more kind of standard burning legion. Instead of kind of really uninspired. The skills kind of really don't go with the rest of the gameplay. The thing is kind of making me sleepy, to be honest with you. Not really. Too far away. Makes me stick hard to it. It's like, see, I have to hit it. It's just that just kind of being in combat. Absolutely for this or that. But yeah, anyway, 2 is like kind of my interrupt bar. We have kick, blind, kidney shot. It's like all those, like 3 of them can interrupt spells. So, part of like, you're not doing a really good job of a rogue if you're not really interrupting people. The Shadow Strike, you can they reduce this from 40 yards to 25 yards, which is kind of good because it used to be really cheap with Shadow Strike. It's just kind of you could use it to like literally dive bomb, like you literally just drop instead of taking forward damage, you teleport high, and then you.
Many deals for a friend of the Grummles. He's like you.
So you could actually do something like really crazy, like drop out of the sky,
Many farewell.
dismount, stealth as you fall, and then once you're like within 40 yards, just Shadow Strike. That would just stop the fall.
Face me, Necromancer.
40 meters, like
Thanatos will be avenged.
I'm out of range.
Pay attention to the ground, like it's kind of like 10 meters off the ground. Check out our tank. So what's our tank doing? Yeah, it's kind of decent. Locks also used to be able to have detect invisibility, so used to be able to detect rogues.
To justice! You dare deny me the sky? Then I shall answer in kind!
I have this great, thank you, not Dan.
Foolish Paragon! There is nothing you can do to stop us. No matter. My minions. I'm so surprised once more!
nothing dropped. One entire pod.
Your arrival proved timely, yet the battle rages on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
we
think
cannot
anything more or
rest
less
until
of
these
Facebook
invaders
because
are
ban Donald
purged
Trump.
from our
He's
skies.
an asshole, they're assholes. Fuck Donald Trump, fuck Facebook, fuck all of them.
I will lead the effort here,
you know,
while my
I guess
disciples bring you to the
look for answers
necropolis.
in society.
Let us end
Mark
this
Zuckerberg
atrocity.
doesn't have any fucking answers that I need. Donald Trump doesn't have any answers.
We have all the
Bill Gates doesn't
corpses
have any
we
answers.
need.
Steve Jobs or fuckheads. You know, maybe people like you and me do. I don't know.
It's too far away.
Oh yeah.
Need a target.
There's like I was gonna say if like for some reason you're on Facebook, everyone's like on Facebook. There's sites like Eventbrite people you expect just posting like the worst dumb 4chan memes, and you're like, this is fucking stupid. This shit is like.
I'm out of range.
Yeah.
I need to get.
Stories that like everyone always your IP address is from the wrong ISP, especially if you had AOL. They make fun of you and you just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, ban this loser.
My assistant. These raw materials are in need of processing.
I mean, by the cops or like whatever, or like upright citizens brigades. You could have people come cancel your store. There was kind of like an adult they had a 4 section in the back. Okay, sound balancing is okay, so I hope this is a little better, that people can hear me over the game. Now, apparently people do actually care what I have to say. Game audio is kind of turned down. Okay.
Competent oafs. Gorgrind, try not to damage those limbs whilst you tear them off.
Someone's got a sore throat. So, but anyway, if anyone was saying, I was just going to rant about fuck Facebook and social media. If there was anything that looked like freedom of speech, like back in the 90s, like the sole reason was basically because it was just easier to evade bans. And then, like, what people didn't really do, people have this thing of like, yeah, I'm going to build this brand of being a troll, and I'm just going to post dumb shit with my main, I'm going to expect no one to get mad. So when we actually did this in the 90s, what we do is we create an all, first of all, and like not tie it back to our real names. And then when people got mad and they ban us, we'd kind of laugh. Then we create another account. And maybe get a web proxy and evade the ban on like a forum or something like that. So it's not like we had like, oh, I have the right to be like, no, it's like you said something fucking stupid. You know you said something stupid. You said it was because it was stupid. It's like, you know, you just screw with people. I hope that answers your question. And then there's kind of, I hate to say this, 4chan came along. And it's just that, like, all the other people, when the internet started cleaning up its act from like 2006, specifically something awful, kept on getting like permanently banned. Like, you know, and every time you get banned from something awful, you pay $10 to get back on. And if you do something like really heinous like kitty porn, like lifetime ban, so if they catch you evading a ban, you're wasting $10 over and over and over again. So that kind of prevented people from kind of really evading bans too hard, because like now you had to like pay, as like I said, the stupid tax. So 4chan, because like there was no logins, it was even harder to ban people. And then just like the worst people from like the rest of the internet just congregated there. And we will be honest with you, 4chan is kind of the people who got kicked off of something awful originally. And that's just what it is. It's just literally the worst of the worst. When something awful decided they wanted to go like legit, they decided they didn't want to be a troll site anymore. That's what 4chan stepped in.
No, that one was my favorite.
Originally, 4chan was,
exquisite creation.
in fact,
I'll have you
English version of 2chan made from goons. But that's that rant.
I'm out of range.
I must reserve your parts for later.
I'm half expecting this guy to just say, and your little dog too. God.
Another exquisite creation. I'll have you in stitches. I must reserve your parts for later. Oh, I'm awfully proud of this one. I'll have you in stitches. No, imbecile! I'm the one who made you!
I'm out of range.
Alright, super up. There we go, nailed him. There we go.
My constructs can handle you on their own. Another, I'll have you in stitches.
Alright, so I guess try doing something here. There's ads. Nothing too crazy. Now they have arrows of where they're facing, so...
No! That one was my favorite! Oh, I'm awfully proud of this one. I'll have you in stitches.
I'm out of range. to get closer.
I'll have you in stitches!
I'm out of range.
I must reserve your parts for later. No! That one was my favorite!
Yeah, they're all his favorite.
Oh, I'm awfully proud of this one.
Let's turn this back down. Let's turn the mic back up.
Imbecile! I'm the one who made you!
I need to get closer.
Nothing. Getting absolutely effing nothing. No drops at all. Okay. Beat me up, Scotty. All right, right there, last boss. Oh, they can do at least.
Bastion shall be laid to waste. The chill of death can escape the storm.
Damn. Guess I got to watch those ground effects.
I have had enough of you. The chill of death. None can escape the storm.
Watch just the tank and
I have had enough of you.
all right, let us know via
None can escape the storm.
5-minute warning before you want to end your stream. All right,
Witness this realm's destruction.
all right. So I think after this dungeon, I think I'm done. Just after this dungeon, here's your warning. After this dungeon, let's. Oh, this looks like Naxxramas. Herdy her. God, 2020, this is what my life is like. Or, like, I just... numbing poison. Let's switch the poisons up here so we do more DPS. Runes go. Cloaking devices on. This is definitely very much but like the next question is, we're in the afterlife, so how do you be undead with skeletons and bones and kind of the afterlife? I don't I don't know.
Bastion shall be laid to waste.
I'm out of range.
None can escape the storm.
Yeah, always anything that looks like ground effects. So this is one of those you shouldn't have a problem as long as you
Can escape the storm.
pay attention.
I'm out of range.
Jesus.
Of death, none can escape the storm.
Jesus. Oh! Oh, 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 that sucks. That effing sucks.
Fleeting victory against a fraction of our forces.
Alright, let's see. Oh, finally. I got, finally got some loot. It's still not better than the shit I have equipped now from the previous expansion, and it's the first dungeon on level. So it's just about it. It's time whenever you're ready, Mr. Pocket, if we can go raid somebody.
You have my attention.
That's pretty much it. Beat the first dungeon. So not repair the required quest. So Melodraxis, it even sounds like they're kind of related to Death Knights and whatever. You did have to fight Helga on the way in.
I need to get closer.
State your purpose.
So before we go raid somebody else, any questions, comments, concerns? Any shit anybody wants to talk about World of Warcraft, or what anyone else thinks about this latest X pack, or kind of whatever?
Go in service.
Our duty is true, our purpose pure.
I hope some of these can be of use. Until we meet again.
So anyway, fly back to
Our
Orbitos.
fates converge. As it must
Still in a party. We've instanced group.
Our duty is true. Our purpose.
Alright, back through the void. God, does it just make you want to go to sleep? You're like, ah, that's so peaceful and serene and... Jesus. And there's little owls. Hoo, there's owls. Hashtag, this is my life now. Fuck. Yeah. Need some real chill ambient drum and bass right about now. Some space music. I don't know, and I can do this now because it's fucking legal. Or maybe not. They'll ban Twitch terms of service. They might get mad. I don't know. If I can just go smoke an entirely legal joint in New Jersey and fly around here and go, woo. Yeah, it's like what we had like by social media, like before it was called social media at IRC, and you had like Usenet and forums. People were useful, and they weren't just like reposting shit for karma. Like, and it's just like when you post shit for karma, it's the same stale, stupid jokes somebody made a million times, just repackaged, resaid, a screen cap, pandering to, pandering to political beliefs, or maybe people actually had like content. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was fucking stupid. Really was stupid, and we're just like old and nostalgic about like younger times. Maybe it is. I don't know. All right, so there's that. That's what's going on in the wide world of Warcraft. Worldwide of Warcraft. Yeah, yeah. I mean, most important is just don't read too much into what you called angry old man yells at cloud. I think at this point I'm pretty much doing this for my own enjoyment rather than any serious, serious point. So when we get a chance, I guess it's time to yeet us off to somebody else's channel. Maybe an update about woke or somebody else who's figuring out how do we actually stop Donald J. Trump or the madness or his fascist yak boys or whatever that guy was kind of. Oh, let's check what's going on Twitter. Oh, yeah, people are retweeting the show because, just like I said, wrapping up. Thank you for all showing up. You guys are awesome. Hang on. Okay. There's a moment. Oh, man. Moment. It's a countdown timer. I don't know. It's kind of like GNOME, but it actually has like decent utilities. I don't like GNOME because it's still a lot of bullshit, even though I run GNOME. So anyway, we're going to raid in a moment. What's it called? We are working on this at the moment. I'm gonna stop trolling Side Pocket with there's a minute timer because it's funny. Opening and before we raid, any questions, comments, concerns? Anyone have anything to add about Linux? All right, we're good to go. Everyone, have a good night to all. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Catch you next time. This is G.I. Jack, G.I. the Wolfman Jack, signing off. Nice. Good one. Like it. Ugh. Ugh.